Okay, so in this next video, I'm going to explain the number 3 solution for the assessment. So the problem is about it involves a pie chart, and we have about 180 students. So they were surveyed to find out which of the 4 modes of transport, so by bus, by car, on foot, and others, that they prefer to use to travel to school. So the pie chart shows the result of the survey. So to answer the first question, it says if 64 students prefer to take the bus to school, we need to find the value of x. Okay, so take note that to know the value of x, we need to consider 64 with respect to the total number of students surveyed. So 64 out of 180, so this is about, so we have 64 divided by 180, so that's about 35.55. Okay, so that's a fraction of students who take the bus. Okay, now x here is in terms of degrees. In the pie chart, the whole circle will have 360 degrees. So the fraction of x degrees out of 360 should be equivalent to 64 over 180. Okay, because the ratios of the two are in proportion. So 64 out of 180, that's with respect to the number of students. That should be equivalent to x, that's in degrees, over the total degrees, which is 360 degrees. So to solve this, you can do different ways of manipulating the equation. One way is to multiply both sides by 360. So you have 64 over 180 times 360 is x over 360 times 360. And here it is very clear that these two will cancel. And to find the x, all we have to do is to simplify this value. Now 64 over 180 times 360, if you compute that value, you should get 128. So the answer to this question is 128. So x degrees is 128 degrees. Letter B, express the number of students who walk to school as a ratio of the number of students who go to school by bus. So again, you could use the number of students, or you could use the angles on the pie chart. So if you look at the question, you are trying to compare those who walk to school and those who take the bus. So walking will constitute 72 degrees, while taking the bus is x degrees, which we already found to be 128. So if we express the ratio, those who walk to school, so that's basically, so get the degrees for walking to school, that's 72, and then so ratio it to the value of x for the bus, that's 128. So you could express this as 72 is to 128. Now for ratios, you have to simplify the value. 72 by 128, so that's equivalent to 9 is to 16. So the answer to this question is 9 is to 16. In letter C, express the number of students who go to school by a car as a percentage of the total number of students surveyed. So we locate, or we try to identify how many use a car to go to school, and that's about, in terms of degrees, that's 106 degrees, and then divided by the total number of students surveyed. Although we could also use the number of students, since the number of students and the degrees are in proportion, we could simply use the degree value. So we could take the 106 degrees and then divide it by 360. So that will be around 29.44 degrees. 29.44%. Okay, so that's a percentage. Okay, finally, how many students use other modes of transport to travel to school? So if we refer to the pie chart, again, the total degrees should be 360. If we know x to be 128, so all we have to do is to subtract 128, 72, and 106 from 360, and you'll get the degree value for the others. Okay, so 360 minus 128 minus 72 minus 106, and that will give you 54. Okay, so how many students use other modes of transport to travel to school? One way we could do this, we take 54 out of 360, so that's a fraction of the pie chart, and then that's a fraction that we should use to take from 180. So that fraction times 180. So if we simplify that, so 54 by 360 and then times 180, that's around 27. So 27 students use other modes of transport to travel to school. Okay, so that's your number 3.